Hey everyone, we're here today with Paula Hassler, and she is a successful book author, and we're going to talk to her a little bit about how she got into that. She, as a baby boomer, how did she get more into inspiration, how what she wanted to do. So if you want to tell us a little about what you're doing as an author, that would be great, just a little background.
Okay, Bren, well, thank you for having me here today. And I have to say, working with kids for almost 23 years has been a great inspiration. I worked from, let's say, kindergarten to second grade, always read to them, and they were so full of inspiration and joy, and the things and the stories I would tell them. I would even animate my voice. And so that really kind of inspired me, and I thought, boy, that would just be neat to maybe write a children's book one day. So I kind of put that on the shelf for a while. And then I also work at Disneyland, and when I was working at Disneyland as well.
When did you first think about writing a book?
I thought about writing, I would say way back when, working with the children. But then I was working full time, of course, so I just put that on the shelf. And then,
like 20 years ago?
Let's say 20, yes, yeah. 30 years ago. And then significantly, when I went back to work at Disneyland, I thought, this is the time to do it. My kids are all grown up, I have time to do it. And I thought to myself, well, it was kind of the computer age, so I knew, well, not only did I have to write a book, but I thought maybe just taking some courses in InDesign and Illustrator. And so what was interesting to me that I found out, even though I did not have a background, I was able to hire somebody to train me. Now, the interesting thing was that I was inspired to write the book while I was training to learn how to do the lettering of the book and let's say the illustrations of the book. I didn't quite have the story, but I talked to my trainer and said, if I'm going to do this right, I am going to write a children's book. Let's get started. And then she showed me how to use Shutterstock, all those things. But the original plan, the storyline, all came from me. It was actually in the writing, illustrating, doing calligraphy inside of the book that actually helped me blossom with a story.
Mm-hmm.
And
so right now, how many book signings have you been doing? You did one recently?
I was very fortunate. I've been actually doing some at Hallmarks in the local area like Irvine, Laguna Niguel. I was invited also Barnes & Noble and Aliso Viejo. So there have been local book signings in my area in Orange County. I've been really pleased. They've been excited to have me there because it's just great to have an author meeting the kids, especially the ones that learn how to read. I'm able to do a story session with the kids there too.
How does it feel being able to do that? Like when you were just trying to create it and now actually being able to do that as an author?
It's very exhilarating. I'm going to say that because it's something that's come to life for me. When I was in my room, it only took, to be honest with you, with silence, took me 7 hours to have the kind of my imagination blossom and to write a full story, which is called Once Upon a Creative Path. And that's what it is. I started kind of thinking I was going to be an end designer, really with computers, and all of a sudden the story just came to me. But it came to me in silence, and my imagination just grew, and I realized not only did I like using my imagination, but also the children love it. And that's what inspires the kids to go on to their reading. So I really like using my book signings. I even was invited to, let's say, museums to do that.
So before you started at all, how did you start to get into it? Because I think you originally said you were like a teacher, right? A long time ago, and then you went to Disney. Can you tell like a little about that, how that happened?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was thinking, like I mentioned, it was more the computer age coming more and more, and I thought, well, I should try to bone up my computer skills. And so I thought, maybe if I got more...
Was that easy for you?
Oh, I wouldn't say it was easy. It didn't come natural because I didn't really have a background for it. So I thought, well, this is the kind of the funny part. I thought, I'll go ahead and take some computer classes at a local college.
Were you pretty anxious about using the computer, though?
At the time I was. Yeah, at the time I was. And I thought, with a big class, this is not going to help me. I knew I needed individual attention. So again, if you're inspired to do something, I just went on the path to finding someone who was of college age, locally in Irvine, I'll say. And I went to her house, and she trained me she knew background in InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop, things like that.
Can you talk a little more about how did you actually start it though? Because I feel like a lot of people, they miss that critical step. Like, can you talk about like your feelings when you did it? Like, were you anxious at all? Did you just go right into it? How did you transition to actually start it with someone?
Well, I'll tell you what, We started small. We were actually doing letters of my name, PH, is Paula Hassler. And this trainer was very patient.
And why did you get a trainer?
I got a trainer because I didn't have the background. She had the background. And
that's good. So you were trying to do that because you didn't know how to use the computer with that, and you found someone to help you then.
That's correct. And Brian, I have to say, very patient. You know, in her early 20s, we would meet together. I would even have lunch at their house. It was kind of like a family thing. And family was very excited that I was there. And so once I learned just lettering, and then I wanted to do something with it. You know, not just learn the computer, but what could I do creatively? I have a total background.
You know, too, like a lot of people would stop there. They'd be afraid, like they didn't know the computers when they grew up. They wouldn't know how to get into it. And they would say, I don't know how to do this. I'm just going to, you know, almost kind of complain about it and just think about a dream but not actually do it. But be actually initiative and you actually found someone to help you with that. That's really good. And
I think that you can find people. You have to be you're actually tapping on something really important, highly resourceful. If you ask people, you talk to them, you will find people to help you to where you want to go. And that's critical. People, like you said, stop. Make a phone call or they just do emails. I think you have to meet people because then you get to know if they can help you.
Yeah, because I mean, you didn't grow up with computers, I believe, right? So you had to learn how to do all this, and this was, you know, much later in your career, so you didn't have a background in this. So you were still able to do this and become an author just in the last 5 years.
That is absolutely right. And people have taken an interest. And I'll tell you what, even to promote myself, I will tell them, you know, I can do book events for you. We can specialize for holidays. And they like that idea because the kids, they want to see kids meet the actual author who wrote the book. And that's exciting for parents, I'll tell you that.
How long did it take you, starting with your kind of person training you, to actually producing the book?
I would say when you talk about everything, I'd say about 1.5 years. And I knew it from the ground up. Just the writing of it, getting someone to help me edit, finding the printers, that was a big thing. If you could imagine that, making sure it was laid out correctly.
So did you have it all planned exactly, everything out in the very beginning, or did you have to kind of learn as you were going?
Learning as you go. There's just nothing like it. Learning as you go, the journey, because then you can see what you can learn from the other experts. And
did you feel like when you're going through it, if you didn't know something, like how did you deal with, I guess, any challenges in it? Like, did you?
I would not be. You're humble enough to ask the questions. What printer should I go to? Is this illustration look right? So you need to be humble about talking to people, asking the questions, and then you can move forward. Because we don't always know everything. We all have special skills, special talents.
All right. I mean, that's true too, because I mean, no one knows everything, and everything will eventually be new, right, when you're first doing it. So you have to take that first step and then go forward with it. Do you have anything you want to tell? I want you to, like, anything you want to share with other people that are trying to start, maybe get into being an author, and especially individuals who maybe aren't as good as computers, like anything you want to share about that experience, like what they can do to become better and follow their dreams?
I would say this. Definitely the biggest thing, and the funny thing, you tapped into something, because in my book, it's all about writing down ideas, that's part of it, and then putting them in a memory box. If there's any inspiration, you don't let it go, even for a second, because it will disappear. So if you want to do something, you write it down, and then you try to find the person or connections to it. If you have a desire, that's a good indication that you might want to do it. And you tapped on something, because I'll tell you what, I had people coming to me saying, you know, I'd like to try it, but, and they stop at the but, you know. But the thing is, you can do it. If you've got the desire and the inclination and the creativity, you can do it, because you will find the resources. I started from zero. Like you said, no computers, a baby boomer with no computer skills. Going forward, I think that's what's made it more exciting for me, to be able to get to it. And people believed in me, and having the enthusiasm. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is having the enthusiasm.
So do you think then, since you've gone down your journey, that other people can do this as well? Even if it's later in their career, they can still go and follow their passions?
I think so. And you need to have, of course, the time. I did it later in my life when I had the time. So yes, they can do it. Just maybe whatever subject they might be interested in. I'm more kind of like fairy tales and castle person, but whatever they like, use that maybe as the vehicle for their book.
Got it. Do you want to show your book a second?
I would just love to. Thank you for that, Brian. So my book is called Once Upon a Creative Path, And because I mentioned to Brian that I love using my voice, I also did voiceovers. So I have a audio clip right here. It's a CD. It's all colorfully made. And in the book here, just a real quick thing, I want to say this. Your imagination is a reservoir for opening doors to new ideas, as long as you give it time to simmer. And that's what one has to do, reflect, simmer, and just let your imagination just go for it. And again, I say this really sincerely, write whatever you're thinking about down, then go back to it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Paula Hassler, for coming on American Dream. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed your shows, and I really enjoyed sharing my ideas in my book with you.
All right, thank you so much.